Okay, what I need now is a volunteer. But I'm not going to take a volunteer because I'd like someone quite small. Actually, let's have someone quite tall. I'll have you come forward. Because this might actually show you more. This is a man who is not quite as large as a fully grown man. For the purposes of this experiment, he is Henry Box Brown. Now, slaves didn't just take their enslaved status. Enslaved Africans didn't take their enslaved status lying down. Many of them fought back, and over 100,000 of them actually died in slave rebellions, trying to overthrow the yoke of slavery. Now, Henry Box Brown was a slave in the southern states of America. He was born in Richmond, Virginia, and he hated slavery, especially because he couldn't care properly for his wife and children, and always had the fear that his wife and children would be sold away from him. In fact, that eventually happened, and he decided that what he would do was escape from slavery, go north to escape from slavery, and in doing that he hoped to then gain enough money to free his wife and children. And together with other three African American, he devised a plan. The plan involved a box, a packing box, 3 foot by 2 foot by 2.5 foot. So I would like, so what's your name? Alex. You're Henry Box Brown at the moment. Henry was called Henry Brown until he devised this method of escape. Could you climb into the box, please, Henry? You have to get into a position whereby you are actually able to be sealed in that box. Can you try that for me?
You're all laughing. No way you're listening.
See, it is possible. Now, what they did, is there any health and safety inspectors in the room? What they did was they sealed the box and left him in there and posted him north to freedom. They posted him to the town of, what's my notes? I think it was, where was it? Are you all right in there? Yeah? They posted him. I've got my notes here somewhere. Here they are. Right. They posted him 350 miles to Philadelphia. Now we're going to, he's been in there a minute. We'll leave him in there for another minute. Is that all right? Yeah? In that box, he went on the train and he had a sign on the box, and the sign on the box said, right way up, please. He was actually upended twice. And he actually was in that box for 27 hours. And then when he got to Philadelphia, he was posted to a famous abolitionist there. And in Philadelphia, the box was opened, and he came out, stand up please, and he said, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, gentlemen.
And he got out as though he just stepped off the train. 27 hours in a box to escape freedom. That's how bad slavery was, that people would put themselves through things like that in order to escape. Now, Henry Box Brown, within a year, was in Manchester. And in fact, he produced his own autobiography, and the second edition of which was published in Manchester by a reverend from Salford. Not content with this, he went around the whole country doing a tour, getting in and out of his box to talk about escaping from slavery. And one time in Leeds, he posted himself from Bradford to Leeds, was in his box for 2.5 hours, and was met at Leeds station, still in his box, by a band playing American tunes. They marched him through the town to where he was giving his talk, and he came out of his box and gave his talk about how slavery should end. So what I want to end with is the idea that, yes, slavery was awful. Yes, Manchester's role in the slave trade in terms of promoting cotton was awful. But when he came here to talk about how slavery was wrong, thousands of people turned up to hear him speak, turned up to support his cause. And during the American Civil War, there was a campaign by many of the cotton merchants to try and break the blockade, which meant that cotton wasn't getting through. And many of the workers stood up against this and said, we have to keep the blockade on cotton going, even if it means we're going to starve. Because if there's slavery in the southern states today, there could be slavery tomorrow in Britain. And they also made the link between themselves as wage slaves and the slaves in America. And what we've got to think about when we think about slavery is there's lots of awful tales to tell about death, but there are also tales about heroism. And I think Henry Box Brown tells us one of those tales. I think we should salute Henry Box Brown.